Hey guys, it's me again, coming to you live from someplace fun. And I say fun because I'm currently in the middle of playing Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch, and I'm not saying that because I'm being paid to. I wish I was. I'm saying that because I am a legitimate Nintendo fanboy. I've been one since I was about 5 years old. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I have Zelda merch all over the place, Zelda shirts, Zelda posters. I have a Switch Zelda carrying case. I have a replica Master Sword. I love the Legend of Zelda series. If you love Legend of Zelda, if you love Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, it's the best of both worlds. Play it. It's a little repetitive, but I keep coming back to it because it's one of those games that won't let go. There's always more stages to unlock, more weapons to unlock, more characters, more costumes. But anyways, enough about that one game. I thought I'd talk a little bit about all the games that I have enjoyed through my longest lasting and most favorite hobby of all time, gaming. So I have been gaming since I was about 4 years old. I started out with this little handheld racing game, very primitive. It wasn't a Tiger game, but I remember it being very, very difficult. I no longer have that game. I believe it broke and I threw it out. And I really got into it around 5 years old when I got a Game Boy, the original Game Boy, for my birthday. And that was the beginning, so to speak. And I've been playing ever since. There have been years in which I actually almost came close to quitting, though, due to different things going on in my life. Lack of time, or just life in general getting in the way. My peak gaming was probably around middle school, but you know, these days I do play a lot, thankfully, because I have a very understanding significant other who allows me to play for hours at a time, and also because she plays video games herself. She gets it, and that is awesome. Those who play together stay together. It is true. And so, as I alluded to earlier, my favorite game company is Nintendo. I've always been a shameless Nintendo fanboy. Mario, Zelda, Star Fox, Donkey Kong, Smash Brothers, F-Zero. My favorite console is probably either Super NES or Game Boy Advance, because the Super NES, well, that was my first game console, and the Game Boy Advance was kind of like a portable Super NES, and I used the Game Boy player on the GameCube so I could play Game Boy Advance on my television. It was awesome. And everybody has different reasons why they play video games. Some people play as a time waster. Some people play it as a social activity. They play with people online or locally. For me, for most of my life, I played it as an escape to get away from things that were going on in my life at the time that, shall we say, were unpleasant. I loved getting lost in the worlds, the characters. There are a lot of times where I could be playing video games and just all my problems, if, you know, only for a few hours at a time, just melt away, and it is great. And the truth of the matter is that there are way worse vices out there. I could have gotten into smoking or drinking or drugs. I didn't. I got into video games. Everything in moderation, of course, but there are way worse hobbies, way worse vices that one could get into. Now, I mentioned online gaming a little bit earlier. I'm actually not a big online gaming fan, partially because I am afraid of getting addicted to online games. I have been addicted to online games, as a matter of fact. I've never played an MMO before because I'm afraid that it's going to be one of those games where you have to play every day and it's going to interfere with everything else that I have to do as an adult. I also don't really care for the online gaming community at large. It tends to be very toxic, especially in the last 5 or 6 years. A lot of bad actors have infiltrated the gaming community to recruit for white supremacy, and it's very discouraging. It's mitigated a little bit recently, but in general, I prefer playing with people who I know, friends, family members. I don't really like playing with strangers. My favorite video game of all time, I would say my top three are Final Fantasy IV. I'm going to start with that. First role-playing game I ever played. It's a little primitive by today's standards, but this was the first time that I ever played a game that actually had like a cohesive story. It had characters with personalities, with backstories. It was a classic tale of good versus evil, but it was unique in its own way. There were secrets that I didn't discover about this game until years later. This was back when you couldn't 100% a game without a guide. It was impossible. Second favorite game would be Earthbound. It's a role-playing game, but it turned the role-playing genre on its head. It was one of the first role-playing games ever released that did not take place in a high fantasy setting. It took place in 1990s America. It was really weird, but it was really funny. I mean, your characters used baseball bats and yo-yos and frying pans as weapons. You fought hippies and annoying old party men. It was really trippy. Still a lot of fun to this day. Unfortunately, it spanned its own subgenre, like Earthbound clones, and so the game has been a little bit tarnished as of late, but still, it's a classic game. I'm sad that they came out with a sequel so many years later, and it was not as good as the last game. And my third favorite game is Half-Life 2, which I picked up from GameFly back for the original Xbox. I don't know what persuaded me to rent that game, but I was wowed immediately by the graphics. I had never seen a game with such realistic graphics before. I remember the stage where you have the motorboat, just staring at the water and saying to myself, wow, this water, it looks so realistic. The sun reflects off of it. I could just stand all day in this water. And that's how much it amazed me. The sense of isolation, the creepiness to the game. It's one of those games you play it and you will never forget it. And that's about it. I hope that I will be playing video games for a long time. It does keep the gears in your head turning. I'm probably going to be playing till I'm 100. And it's not a bad hobby to get into. It can be very social. It can help develop your social skills. It's great for hand-eye coordination. And that's about it, you guys. Questions, comments, complaints? Like, comment, subscribe as always. And as always, take care, you guys, and see ya.